Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match. Carlos Alcaraz versus Miomir Kecmanovic, Miami 2022 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. This was one of the better matches I've seen in all of 2022. So far, match of the tournament, and I don't know that coming in you would have expected it. We know how amazing Carlos Alcaraz is. We know that Kecmanovic has put incredible results in already in 2022, tremendous consistency, but this was a match that really looked like it was played at a top 15 level, which is a far cry from their combined ranking, which is 64 between them. This didn't look like that at all. They put on an absolute show, and it was ultimately a match that easily could have gone either way, going to a third set tiebreak. Incredibly clean third set by both, where they took great care of their serves, and then even that tiebreak, a great comeback by Alcaraz at the end. This thing came down to a couple of points. So less so than match tactics, I want to jump into a couple of things we learned about these players, especially because I don't think I've talked about Kecmanovic on this channel in a pretty long time. I did make him a dark horse for Indian Wells. I know I talked to him about him when he was playing the Next Gen Finals a couple years back. But I do want to kind of give a little bit of some thoughts on his play style in general. But I thought he did a couple of things in this match better than even Alcaraz did. I think he was, first of all, more consistent. This was a classic match, as I'll kind of get to, of the player with more firepower versus the player with more consistency. If you look at the winners to unforced errors splits, that's exactly the picture that it paints, with Kecmanovic 19 winners to 16 unforced errors. Very, very clean in a match that long, and with that many games played and points played. Alcaraz littered up the stat sheet a lot more, 52 winners to 40 unforced errors. Anyway, Kecmanovic kept it incredibly clean, made very, very few errors. I thought he returned better than Alcaraz, better depth on average. He got plenty in play as well, and he forced Alcaraz to work very, very hard on his service games, not only getting the returns back at about a 70% clip, but I think doing a good job of keeping away from Alcaraz's big first forehand. But the number one thing that stood out to me about Kecmanovic's performance in this one is how well he absorbed Carlos Alcaraz's pace. He has great hand-eye coordination, obviously, when it comes to his ball striking, but I also think he has great balance and a very low center of gravity, and he was able to redirect and absorb the pace as well as I think anyone can against Carlos Alcaraz, who brings ground stroke speeds that are up there with the best in the world on both the forehand and the backhand. And I didn't think the power phased Kecmanovic as much as it phased, let's say, a Stefanos Tsitsipas on the backhand side like it did in the previous match. However, as I said, Alcaraz has more finishing power than Kecmanovic. Even though Kecmanovic has done some things to improve in that respect, he's got, Alcaraz has more tools, more counterattacking ability, a bigger forehand, better transition game and net play. And we know about the drop shots, which were really, really good in this match as well. And as a result, it felt like the outcome was always up to Carlos. And he decided to use that in every moment of this match. And it was very eye-opening with Alcaraz coming into this match as a favorite and being in a Masters 1000 quarterfinal, which, yes, he was in a couple of weeks ago, but this is still very new to him, that he had no sense of fear. He didn't hold back at all. And in every moment, he wanted to take matters into his own hands and finish points on his terms. And that's the number one thing that I feel like we learned about Alcaraz, is that even with the pressure on in a third set tiebreak, he's going to be the player who's looking to finish and looking to be aggressive. And he never got away from that. And it was key. I mean, a great dictating point at down 5-3 in the third set tiebreak. Backhand down the line, forced an error at 5-4 in the third set tiebreak, hit a service winner at 5-all. And then Kecmanovic actually tried to be the aggressor on match point and he came in, hit a pretty good drop volley on a half volley, good approach shot, good drop volley, but Alcaraz was too fast, came in and with a continental grip, punched a backhand into the corner for a winner. As far as Kecmanovic's game in general, I feel like, and I put a tweet out here at Gill_Gross asking for comparisons for Kecmanovic's game. I got a couple of responses, but I think the most popular one is his coach, David Nalbandian. And I think that that is one that's really good. I also saw a couple of Andre Agassi's thrown out there. I think that was one that resonated with me for sure. And that's because he tends to take the ball pretty early. He's got great angles on the cross court, has awesome feel, very balanced between his forehand and his backhand. And when I say his awesome feel, I mean he really has a great, feel isn't just necessary on drop shots and lobs. When you're hitting those short cross-court angles, you need the feel to do that. He does a really good job of that. The movement is obviously very, very good. He takes time away, as I said, and he's very consistent. So it's not brute force, but he's still an aggressive player. He still does a good job of staying on top of points. And the big difference for him, I think, in 2022 is he's added what he didn't have previously, which is just a little bit more muscle on the first serve and the forehand, so that it's not all finesse, and that he can rev the miles per hours up and hit with the big boys, so to speak, because there have been times in his career where he's just seemed like a good player, but at the same time a lightweight, and it doesn't feel like that anymore. The one thing, and the last point tactically, is going back to that match point. If I were to have one observation, not really a criticism, but I thought that Kecmanović did well in this match to actually stay back for the most part and to make Alcaraz defend. And in those positions, for the most part, Kecmanović did not approach net. And I think that is the move against Carlos Alcaraz, which I just want to note because I'm not going to have time to make a semifinal preview. As we move into this semifinal between Alcaraz and Hurkacz, and you know how I feel about Hubie, that he needs to come forward, and I think Hubie feels the same way about how he needs to play. I think it's best against Alcaraz to stay back, to not give him a target, to not give him a clear plan, to not allow him to use his speed to counterattack, because his decision-making from defensive positions can still be a little bit unpredictable, maybe cloudy. He can still miss from defensive positions. So for the most part, I thought Kecmanović was putting Alcaraz under pressure, but staying back and making him make decisions from defensive positions. On match point, he approached, and then you give Alcaraz that clear plan. Okay, we want to dip the passing shot low, and then we want to chase down the next ball when we use our speed. And I think Carlos is one of those rare players where it might be better to stay back. Kecmanović did that for the most part, didn't do it on match point. Not really a criticism because, again, he didn't really do anything wrong. And that's a microcosm of the match. Tremendous performance by Miomir Kecmanović, and an amazing job by Carlos, not only displaying the skills that he's known to have, but handling the pressure and staying true to his identity and playing on his own terms in the pressure moments. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.